Hello and welcome to this lecture. In this section, you learned what are functions. Now let's test your knowledge on functions by writing a Python program. So to do that, I start with opening a text editor. The one which I use is Atom. And what program are we going to write? Our program would take two numbers as input from the user, and then we write a function that would check which among these two numbers is maximum. So let's first save this file. I'm saving it as findMaximum.py. Now, in case you had missed any of the previous programming lectures, .py identifies your file as a Python file. So to get our problem statement right, it is to check which among the two numbers is maximum. So let's take input from the user. Let me give a prompt to the user to enter the first number, which would be enter the first number. And now what we do, we make use of the input function to take input from the user and store it in our variable. Let me call our variable as first number. So first number equal to input. Now if you remember what input function does, it takes the input from the user in a string format. Now since it is numbers that we are dealing with, we want this to be typecasted into an integer. Let me do that to the second variable as well. Enter the second number. And then let me typecast the second number into an integer. So now we have two numbers which we have taken as input from the user. So now let's go ahead and define a function that would check which among these two numbers is maximum. Now by convention, all the function definition goes to the beginning of your program. So let's do that. At the beginning of my program, I define my function and I call it findMaximum. Now this has got nothing to do with the file name. Your file name and your function name can both be different. It's completely alright. Now what I want this function to do is take two parameters as input, say first number and second number. And then within the function's body, I want to check which among these two numbers are greater. So to do that, I use an if condition which would check if my first number is greater than my second number. And if it is, I write a print statement that says first number is greater. Now the next condition that you can have is either your second number could be greater than the first number, or both your first number and second number could be equal. So let me first check else if my second number is greater than my first number. If it is greater, my print statement would be second number is greater. Now the final condition which we have, which can also be caught with an else condition, is both the numbers being equal. So now we have defined our function body. Next, what we need to do is to call this function in our program. So in order to call the function, all that I have to do is to enter findMaximum, which is the name of the function, and pass the parameters, which are the two numbers, first number and second number. Now let's save this file and execute it to see what happens. To execute my Python program, I open terminal. Now if you're on Windows, you could use either PowerShell or command prompt. Linux users can use terminal as well. And now I enter Python 3, and then I navigate to the location where my file is placed, which is desktop/findMaximum.py. Now on execution, I need to enter my first number. Say I call my first number as 10 and the second number, let it be 20. So I have my output as second number is greater. Now we could also have our function to return a value. So now in order to do that, what we should do is to return the maximum number. So in this case, if my first number is greater, I would be returning the first number. If my second number is greater, I would be returning the second number. And when both the numbers are equal, I could return either the first or the second number since both are the same. Now remember that when you return a number, you need a corresponding variable that accepts. So let me declare a variable called as maximum number, which will hold the value that is returned by this function. So if my first number is greater, my maximum number would be the first number. If my second number is greater, my maximum number would be the second number. And if both my first and second number are equal, my maximum number would be either first or second. In this case, I have taken first number. Now to print that, print maximum number equal to, let's print out the value this time. Now you do remember that we can use a placeholder for a variable name. A pair of curly braces stands for a placeholder. And let's perform a string formatting and enter the variable name as maximum number. Now let's save this file and execute it once again to see what our output will look like. Now on execution, let me give both the numbers as equal this time. So first number as 10 and second number as 10. So I get the output, both the numbers are equal and maximum number equal to 10, which is the value returned by my function. So that's the end of this lecture. Go through all the PDF notes attached and solve every exercise problem. In case you're stuck, feel free to use the discussion board and I'll guide you from there. The next section is on exception handling. We will be learning how exceptions are handled in Python. I'll see you there. Thank you.